For every business that exists right now, a tough question needs to be faced. Whether or not you have what it takes to make the switch to the next level to keep you in business. Well, we speak to one such entrepreneur who managed to do just that.
So one of the things that became very clear from coronavirus and medium-sized businesses is they're very high-risk ones. So we are one of those very high-risk ones, which meant we were totally closed, which is completely terrifying because we have very small profit margins. Even though Pronto is 15 years old and before the lockdown was full every night and every day, always at the back of my mind was the thought process that I needed to diversify. Pretty quickly I realized the only question worth asking was how to stay relevant to my community. And if I wasn't able to feed them dinner and lunch inside the restaurant, I was going to think about how to do it outside the restaurant. People needed to have that joy for food at home, but still be linked back to Pronto at the end of the day. So I couldn't just serve takeaways. I needed to become more relevant than that. And that's why one of the major things we did is we broke through another window and we now have a coffee hatch and a bakery so that people can come, take their coffee, pick up their pastry, still get the joy of food, but in a completely different contactless way and go and sit outside. Entrepreneurship takes energy. And if I'm honest, since the beginning of this lockdown, this has been in my mind every day on some level. I've been developing and thinking. I mean, we have so many new innovations at Pronto from the last 3 months that we're now reopening up with. And the next 3 months are going to be even harder than the last 3 months. The last 3 months were completely locked down, stop spending, strategize for the future. Now we're going. Now the money is going out, the money's coming in, and in truth, the next 3 months are extremely dangerous. So yes, do what you can, but at the same time, my heart goes to those businesses that are simply not going to be able to make it. And it's all out of your control, because essentially that is what COVID-19 has taught us as entrepreneurs, is that we have no control.
Hi guys, my name is Boiti and you're watching Joburgtoday.
Levels of uncertainty about Joburg's ability to bounce back from this pandemic has left many Joburgers uncertain about their future. We speak to Ivan Turok of the Human Sciences Research Council on how best the city can recover from this crisis.
Part of the problem with the situation we've had is it's been managed by national government, right? The National Command Council. All the stimulus measures, all the protection measures, all the stabilization measures have been national initiatives. They've not been city or provincial initiatives by and large. And so national government is not in close contact, is not as aware of the situation in a place like Johannesburg as it should be. So the first, I think, and most important thing is to ensure that the city gets access to these national funds, to make sure that business loans are coming to businesses in Johannesburg, to make sure the Solidarity Fund, is giving Johannesburg its fair share of the resources for relief, for food parcels, for grants. Make sure that the UIF is being administered efficiently in Johannesburg, so that money is being put into people's pockets to spend. Okay, that's the first and most important thing, I think, that Johannesburg gets its fair share. Then the city needs to think hard about its rates, policies, and its service charges, and not take advantage or not address the problem by simply raising rates and tariffs and expecting that hard-pressed consumers and businesses will just be able to cope with higher charges. That's not going to work. That will damage confidence. So the city has to be very careful about its budgeting in the next year or two. Other measure, the city needs to be creative. It needs to find a way of reprioritizing money, maybe bringing forward spending on highly labor-intensive kinds of schemes, right? Infrastructure improvement would be a good one. Making sure again that Joburg's got access to the government's infrastructure projects, that Johannesburg projects are right there, top of the priority. Johannesburg is the kind of heartland of the economy of South Africa. It needs to be making the case that government needs to invest in Johannesburg, not in some other far-flung parts of the country. Cities are incredibly resilient. If you look around the world, cities have recovered from typhoons, they've recovered from earthquakes. So cities do recover from these kinds of disasters.
I'm Zakia Patel and you're lucky enough to be watching Joburg Today. Mwah.